Welcome to another deep dive. This time,
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
we're stepping into Astrom X.
Yeah, Astrom X.
A world where magic isn't just a sprinkle of fairy dust.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's woven into the very fabric of existence. You know that feeling when you're playing a video game
Oh, tell me about it.
and you stumble across some crazy, powerful artifact? Well,
Like, you can't believe how awesome it is.
imagine that, but in a world where ancient beings use magic and tech,
They're way ahead of us.
like we use smartphones.
What's fascinating about Astrom X is it takes the classic elements of fantasy. Your magic, your dragons,
Epic battles.
all of it. Yeah. And it just blends them with advanced technology
It's a wild combination.
in a way that feels both familiar and completely mind-blowing.
So not your grandma's fairy tale world, then.
Yep.
Where do we even begin to unpack a place like Astrom X?
Well, every good story starts at the beginning, right?
I'm with you.
And the creation myth of Astrom X is anything but ordinary. Imagine this. The void. Not just empty space, but a true void. No light, no sound,
Not even emptiness.
not even the concept of emptiness. And within this void existed a single nameless being.
Okay, hold on. We're going full-on abstract concept right out of the gate.
Yeah, we're diving right in.
This is going to be a wild ride.
This being existing in this state of pure potentiality for what we can only assume was an eternity gets a bit restless.
I can relate.
It tries to create, but everything it brings forth is immediately reabsorbed back into the void.
Kind of like trying to build a sandcastle at the edge of the ocean, I imagine.
Exactly. So this being decides to do something radical. It splits itself in two.
Talk about a bad breakup. Who are these two halves?
Meet Gigados and Hydralia.
Oh, I like the sound of this already.
Gigados, often depicted as a magnificent dragon,
Classic.
embodies creation, ambition, the desire to build and shape. Hydralia, on the other hand, takes the form of a seven-headed serpent,
7 heads. That's a lot to handle.
each head representing a different aspect of destruction and chaos.
Okay, so we've got our classic yin and yang, our fundamental forces of the universe.
It's a tale as old as time.
But knowing siblings, I'm guessing they didn't just agree to disagree.
You'd be right. Their contrasting natures led to, you guessed it, a bit of a family feud.
Here we go.
But we're not talking a squabble over who gets the last slice of pie here. This is the Elders' War,
Ooh, the elders.
a clash of cosmic proportions.
Now, I can already sense the listener on the edge of their seat picturing this epic showdown. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the Elders' War,
Yeah.
I'm dying to know, how do we go from these two primordial beings duking it out to, well, an actual universe?
Here's where the creation myth takes an even wilder turn. Gigatos, in his infinite creativity,
Always with the creativity.
forges an artifact of immense power, the atom. It's like the ultimate power source, drawing energy from the very essence of the elemental planes. And this, my friend, is where we get the Big Bang.
Hold on, you're saying this world's creation myth actually incorporates the Big Bang Theory. That's amazing.
Astrom X is full of surprises.
No kidding.
This cosmic explosion had huge consequences.
I bet it did.
First, it hurled Hydralia away,
Oh, no.
scattering her essence across the newly formed universe.
So she's out there somewhere.
Oh, she's out there. Imagine. You could be holding a piece of this ancient destructive power without even knowing it. That's how deeply intertwined the fate of Astrom X is with its past.
That's both incredible and a little terrifying. Yeah, just a tad.
But what about Gigados? What happens to our resident creator deity?
Well, after all that exertion,
I can't imagine.
Gigados, understandably, needs a bit of a breather.
I'd say.
He doesn't just kick back and relax, though.
Of course not.
He uses his remaining power to bring forth the high god's extensions of himself, representing different aspects of creation. Think of them like his trusted lieutenants,
I like it.
each tasked with shaping and overseeing a specific aspect of the universe.
So we've got Gigados with his team of high gods bringing order to the cosmos. But we can't forget about Hydralia. Scattered, but certainly not gone right.
Yeah.
Not gone, and definitely not happy. Seeing Gigados' creations as the ultimate affront,
Oh, boy.
Hydralia retaliates by creating her own twisted version of the high gods, the outer gods.
Not the outer gods.
And that's where things really heat up. We're
Yeah.
talking a battle royale for the fate of the newborn universe.
Okay, now that's something I need to hear more about. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on the epic clash of the high gods and the outer gods, only here on The Deep Dive. Okay, a universe-spanning war between gods and their not-so-angelic counterparts.
Lots to take in.
It's all very epic and awe-inspiring, but
Good.
how do we get from this cosmic clash of the Titans to
Let's get a taste of it.
the Astromechs we're familiar with, the one with humans and elves?
Don't forget the Magitech.
Oh, right. And that little thing called Magitech you mentioned.
That's where things get really interesting. You see, even in the midst of this grand cosmic battle,
You're saying there's more?
there were smaller, more insidious forces at play. Remember Dalios,
Dahlia.
the god of corruption we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah, Hydralia's right-hand man. Or, well, one of her many heads, when it comes to spreading chaos and discord.
Precisely. Dalios wasn't just whispering temptations in the ears of powerful beings.
He was playing for keeps.
He was actively corrupting them, twisting them into agents of chaos.
And he was successful.
He was especially drawn to the ancient beings.
The ones who predate the gods.
Those are the ones, sensing in them a raw power that could be bent to his will.
So even in a universe creating war, you've got backstabbing and power plays.
Some things never change.
But what happened to Dalios? Surely Gagados and the high gods put a stop to his schemes.
They did eventually manage to banish him
Banish him where?
to a realm known as Hell.
As if things couldn't get any worse.
And trust me, that's a story for another deep dive entirely.
Oh, I bet it is. But even banished, his influence lingered.
His influence had already seeped into the very fabric of the young universe.
It makes you wonder, if this Dalios character could corrupt beings of such immense power, could any corner of the universe truly be safe from his influence?
It's a chilling thought.
Gives me chills just thinking about it.
And just when you thought things couldn't get any more chaotic,
Of course.
a new threat emerged. Remember that seal we touched upon earlier?
The High Elf Queen Yatara and her husband Walthers were tasked with guarding.
The one and only.
Right, the one with some seriously bad mojo locked away.
You could say that again.
What was it again? What were they so afraid of?
Darkon.
Darkon. Okay, I'm officially scared now.
An entity so ancient, so powerful, that his very essence was antithetical to life itself.
So the opposite of Jagatos, then.
You could say that? He was the embodiment of death, decay, and the ultimate end of all things.
Oh, man. Not only are they dealing with a war of gods, but there's a potential undead apocalypse on the line, too. Talk about bad timing.
You have to wonder if they considered just scrapping the whole thing and starting over.
Right. But let's get back to the Elders' War. How did it finally end?
Picture this, a universe still finding its footing,
Recovering from a cosmic food fight.
still reeling from the sheer force of creation, now scarred by the battles of gods and monsters.
Sounds like a rough Tuesday.
Hygralia, despite her immense power,
7 heads in all.
7 heads in all, was ultimately overwhelmed
I guess even she couldn't overcome that much.
by Gigados and the combined might of the high gods.
So what, they just destroyed her? Deleted her from existence?
Not quite.
What could be worse than being completely destroyed?
Directly destroying a being of such immense power is next to impossible, even for a god.
Okay, so what did they do?
Instead, they did something far more strategic, more permanent.
This doesn't sound...
They imprisoned her essence, scattering it, along with her most powerful artifacts, to the farthest corners of the universe.
Divide and conquer, cosmic edition. Pretty clever. But what about Jagados? Did he declare himself the victor? Maybe take a well-deserved nap after all that?
You know, for a being who just waged a universe-spanning war,
I know, right?
you'd think he'd at least put his feet up for a bit,
At least one good nap.
and, in a way, that's exactly what he did.
He's my kind of god.
Exhausted from the battle, Gigatos decided to enter a state of deep slumber.
A well-earned rest.
A cosmic power nap, if you will.
A cosmic power nap. I can't even imagine the kind of dreams you'd have after creating a universe and fighting off your evil twin.
I don't even want to think about it.
But I'm guessing even a divine nap can't last forever.
Even gods need their rest.
What happened when Jagados finally woke up?
Well, let's just say he wasn't too pleased with what he found.
Oh, I can imagine.
You see, with Gigados out of commission,
Cosmic power nap, remember?
right, of course. With him gone, a power vacuum emerged.
Power vacuums are never good.
You're telling me, remember those corrupted ancients Dalios had a hand in twisting?
Oh, yeah, those guys. I bet they saw their chance and took it.
Exactly.
I knew it.
Thus began the Gods' War,
The Gods' War.
a chaotic period where various factions, fueled by ambition and vying for control, clashed across Astromex.
Because one cosmic war wasn't enough.
It was a time of great upheaval and uncertainty.
And I thought rush hour traffic was bad. So how did this Gods' War finally end? Did they manage to wake Jagados up from his nap early?
Let's just say that when Gigados finally roused from his slumber,
He wasn't a happy camper.
you got it. Centuries of squabbling had left the world in disarray,
Can you blame him?
and he was determined to impose some order.
About time. So what did he do? Lay down the law, Cosmic Edition.
Precisely. He issued a decree, a set of rules that would shape the fate of Astrom X forever.
Rules are good. What kind of rules?
The most significant of these rules, ancients were forbidden from directly interfering in the affairs of mortals.
Smart. Keep those meddling ancients out of it.
To enforce this decree, he created a new class of beings, the Godborn.
Hold on. Godborn? Is that what I think it is? Are we talking about demigods, like in Greek mythology, but infused with the power of Gagados' high gods?
You got it.
This is getting good.
These Godborn were mortals imbued with a fraction of the high god's power,
So, like mini-gods running around.
tasked with maintaining balance and upholding Gagados' decree. It was during this era that humanity, a relatively new species on Astrom X, began to make their mark.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Every time humanity takes a step forward in this world, a new war breaks out.
It's almost like they have a knack for it.
What was it this time?
Well, remember how we discussed the Tower of Wits?
How could I forget? A mysterious tower just pops up out of thin air in the middle of a desert, filled with powerful artifacts and forgotten knowledge. It's the stuff of legends.
It's certainly one way to make an entrance.
What's its connection to humanity's rise?
The Tower of Wits didn't just hold the secrets of Magitech.
Don't keep me in suspense.
It held the key to humanity's ascent. And one man, a brilliant but ambitious human alchemist named Balthor,
Let me guess. He wanted all the power for himself.
he became obsessed with unlocking its mysteries. You see, Balthor had fallen in love with and married a Moonlith, an ancient and powerful race with a deep connection to magic and knowledge.
Okay, a forbidden romance, a mysterious tower, and the secrets of Magitek Balthor's story sounds like something straight out of a blockbuster movie.
His story is a tragic one, full of ambition, betrayal, and ultimately a devastating loss of innocence. Balthor, with his Moonlith wife by his side,
They were really in love.
oh, deeply. They delved deeper and deeper into the mysteries of the Tower of Wits. He created incredible things. Magitech armor, weapons, devices that blurred the line between science and magic.
This Balthor guy sounds like he could give Tony Stark a run for his money, but you said his story was tragic. What went wrong?
The Moonliths, you see, possessed a unique ability
What's that?
to tap into a kind of collective consciousness
A hive mind.
that spanned their entire race.
Wow.
It was through this hive mind that they received a terrifying vision,
A vision? Of what?
the complete annihilation of their people,
Oh no.
at the hands of Balthor's creations.
Wait, so they foresaw their own destruction because of this technology? That's chilling. Tell me more about this hive mind and how it works.
It's believed that each Moonlith was like a single neuron in a vast interconnected network.
Okay, I'm following.
They could share thoughts, emotions, even memories
No way.
across vast distances. It was this shared consciousness that allowed them to sense the danger posed by Balthor's Magitech. Imagine having access to the combined knowledge and experiences of your entire species.
The possibilities are mind-boggling.
Exactly.
But also a little terrifying, if you think about it.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
So in this case, this hive mind ability, was that their downfall?
In a way, yes. The Moonlith hive mind, faced with the certainty of their extinction, made a difficult decision: eliminate the threat.
Eliminate Balthor.
They believed that Balthor's love for his wife would be enough to stop him, to reason with him.
So they used his wife to try and stop him. What happened?
They underestimated the seductive lure of forbidden knowledge
And
and the devastating power of betrayal.
oh no, what did Balthor do?
Heartbroken and enraged by what he perceived as a betrayal,
I can't imagine.
Balthor unleashed his full might. The Moonlith genocide was a dark chapter in Astrom X's history,
That's awful.
a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition and the fine line between creation and destruction. The war that followed, fueled by the remnants of Balthor's creations and the lingering resentment of those who survived, pushed the very fabric of Astrom X to its breaking point.
This is heavy stuff. Where do we even go from here? There's more.
Oh, there's always more. Remember Balthor's 3 clones?
The ones he created, yeah.
2 of them, Molecule and Astaroth, inherited their creator's brilliance.
A chip off the old block.
But their paths diverged dramatically.
How so?
Molecule, drawn to the pursuit of knowledge for the betterment of all,
The good son?
sought to use Magitech to heal the wounds of the past.
A noble goal.
Astaroth, however,
Oh,
was seduced by the allure of power.
the black sheep of the family.
He believed that true strength lay in bending the very forces of magic and technology to his will, no matter the cost.
Oh, I can already see this going badly. We're talking full-blown supervillain origin story, right?
Azeroth's descent was fueled by a dangerous cocktail of grief, ambition, and a thirst for vengeance.
It's like a recipe for disaster.
He discovered the imprisoned essence of Darkon.
Wait, Darkon, the entity of death and decay?
That's the one.
Oh, no, he didn't.
He did. Azeroth, convinced that true power lay in mastering the forces of life and death,
That's a dangerous combination.
forged a pact with Darkon, becoming his champion in the mortal realm.
He didn't. This is bad, even for Astromex.
This unholy alliance sparked a conflict that would engulf all of Astromex, the War of Knowledge.
And this is where humanity really steps onto the world stage, right?
Exactly. Faced with the overwhelming threat of Astaroth and his forces, the people of Astromex had no choice but to unite.
Everyone, even the elves.
Humans, elves, even those ancient beings who had long withdrawn from the world's affairs, they all knew that if they didn't stand together, they would fall together.
So who are the major players in this war of knowledge, and how did it all end?
On one side, you had Astaroth and his followers, the Questalents, wielding the corrupted magitech created by Balthor and empowered by Darkon's dark magic. Opposing them were the Trifoidea, a coalition of those who still believed in the promise of a brighter future for Astromex.
The forces of good versus the forces of evil.
It was a brutal, bloody conflict,
Yeah.
one that pushed everyone and everything to their limits.
So what happened? How did the Trifoidea win?
Ultimately, it was a desperate act of self-sacrifice that turned the tide. Yennefer, a powerful sorceress, and Azeroth's beloved,
His beloved.
realized that the only way to stop him, to sever his connection to Darkon, was to destroy them both.
She sacrificed herself to save the world. That's incredibly selfless.
It was a decision that cost her everything, but her sacrifice saved countless lives and ushered in a new era for Astromex. Though wounded, the world began to heal. The elves, deeply scarred by the war and blaming themselves for the creation of the very weapon that ended it, retreated into seclusion.
Can you blame them?
Humanity, however, rose from the ashes, their resilience and adaptability allowing them to thrive in the wake of devastation.
So what does this all mean? What's the takeaway for our listener who's been on this incredible journey through the history of Astromex?
Astromex is a world forged in fire, shaped by conflict, and ultimately defined by the choices of those who inhabit it. It reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, hope can blossom from the ashes of despair. And sometimes the smallest actions, the bravest sacrifices, can have the greatest impact on the fate of worlds.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of Astromex. We've explored its chaotic beginnings, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the eternal battle between creation and destruction. But remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
So much more to discover.
Astromex is a vast and ever-changing world, full of untold stories and endless possibilities.
A world ripe for exploration.
Who knows what adventures await those brave enough to explore its depths? Until next time, keep exploring.